So we are on episode 5 of Surviving with Celia. Today's guest is Mr. Yoshi Obayashi. Fuck that up. It's like him saying white Mexican name.
Yeah.
And then my co-host, Eric Biggs. And then behind the camera, we've got our producer, JP. And yeah, he's over here like fucking hookers, not really doing his job. So I'm super excited. We met in Arizona, right?
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish it was episode 4. Because 4 in Japanese and Chinese means death.
That would be cool.
So that's why you never give anything in 4. And floors, they go from 1, 2, 3, 5, you know?
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Like how a lot of hotel floors skip 13.
Yeah. So like ichi, ni, san, shi. Shi is like, in Chinese too, it's the word death. So yeah, since we were talking about death prior to recording.
I know. I'm always talking about that.
So do you guys have a 13th floor in like big hotels, or like do you guys not care about the 13th floor?
I think if they have a hotel and if they're considered to the foreign guests, they probably won't have 13. But
okay.
It just depends.
Yeah, no, that's like it's different places. But
well, yeah, because I'm like that's
different numbers have different meanings and different cultures.
Like so, if you're gonna give a gift to like an Asian person, you probably don't want to give number in 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 8 for Chinese, a good luck. You know.
That's why dumplings come in 6-cat.
Just kidding now.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't fucking know. I'm an idiot. Isn't it like also bad luck to put your chopsticks like straight in the rice like that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
You only do that at the funerals. So sometimes I see some foreigners, like non-Asian folks, because it's more convenient to put it there to hold it. But yeah, you probably freak out some Asian people, maybe Chinese, but for sure 100% Japanese people. You only do that when somebody's dead. Another time, you don't pick some food or object, pass it on to another person in chopstick. You don't do that.
Oh, okay.
You only do that when somebody's dead. So when you cremate the body, and the family will spend very intimate time passing the deceased person's bone, pass it to the next person. They'll pass it to the next one until at the very end they put it in a box, you know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, chopstick, just like 2 dicks are not supposed to touch unless you're doing gay porn or something like that, right? So.
Speaking of everything I know about Japanese culture, I learned from hentai.
Okay.
And you used to edit porn, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was a DVD producer for one of the major porn company. Yeah.
So you're the one putting all the blurs in. That's why.
Yeah.
You ruined my section. Just kidding.
I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, but the history of that is, I think, American occupation in Japan, and they always had to find a reason to censor stuff, you know.
Okay.
But it's always bogus reason, you know. It's that, then censoring the books or censoring ideas and things like that. But you know, anybody know a little bit of history know that anyone who supports censorship usually are not on the good side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's usually the bad people that are trying to block information.
Or misguided. You know?
Yeah. Well, so the podcast is called Surviving with Celia, because I don't want to just like always talk about comedy. I want to talk about like things you've had to survive in life.
Yeah.
Is there anything you've gone through that you had to survive, and that can mean like a
Sorry,
lot of things?
I'm my disagreeable temperament, but you know, when I first heard this show, I thought you want me to give a lecture, not a lecture, but
a lecture.
Idea of like one advice on surviving, you know. That's what I thought. And then,
well, that too, like survival advice, if you know anything about that too. It's a little bit of everything.
It's kind of practical advice. I don't want to get into detail about recent migrant situation.
Oh, okay.
But some people are conservative and liberal, they have strong feelings about that. But I will say that if you're born in a country where they're treating you terribly, and you have no opportunity in life, or you don't feel comfortable providing safety to your family, then one of the most important thing you could do is get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
It's a human condition, you know. People vote with their feet. You know, you leave when things are bad. So if you're leaving because they're treating you terrible and you want to survive, you will get out of there. So I have sympathy that because I think that's a human thing, you know. And
Yeah.
I think if you're lucky enough to born in this country, and for whatever reason things are not going well, let's say like a black person, for whatever reason things just doesn't work out for you, and you want to leave. Well, you need to get a passport, and this
Yeah.
is something that most Americans don't have.
I'm actually getting mine soon.
And if things are not going well, and if you want to have opportunity, you need passport to get the hell out of here to survive, you know. And there are others from another country who want to come here, you know. It just depends on you and your background. Maybe this is not a good place, or maybe this is a good place. But I believe in freedom to travel and leave, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, comedically speaking, you know, you're doing very well. You're very funny, but you might find yourself surprised. Maybe you do a show in Australia. For some reason, your humor hits really, really well there.
Yeah.
I have friends that like do all right in the USA. For some reason, they go overseas. All of a sudden, they're stars, and vice versa. I have friends from Europe, England. They don't give shit about them.
Yeah.
But one guy went to Sweden. Unbelievable career. John Oliver, I've been told, was doing okay in UK, but some reason when he traveled to the United States, there's something about him in this country just hit it off, you know.
Yeah.
So there's, if you want to survive a better career, you could get out of here, and if you want to leave because your life in danger, you need to get out. And I think
No, sorry. I was just gonna like hide my documentation and call INS on myself. Worst case scenario. It's all like, hey, I'm pretty sure there's a wetback here.
yeah,
It's like, I don't think she's documented, and they just, it's all like, la migra. It's all like, see.
you're born here, right?
I was. My father was an illegal immigrant, though, who came here when he was 14, 13 years old.
Yeah.
To get away from fucked up shit and have a better life.
I was illegal alien too.
Found it.
But I didn't know we were coming here because my mother, like most Asian parents, lied. She
She told you you're going to Disneyland?
yeah, I mean, I don't know how it is Latin parents, but I think Asian parents lie a lot and they don't want to tell you. And my situation was, my mother said we were flying from Osaka, Japan to Tokyo. When we woke up next day, first of all, it was strange. You would take bullet train, but like, okay. And when we woke up, we were in Hawaii, and that's when my mother told us. Yeah. I don't know if that was funny, but that's when we found out. She just finally told us, like, my parents are divorced, you know. And I think I was 4th grade. But when I was 2nd, one day my mother took myself and my younger brother, just left the house with all her shit. So that night when my dad showed up, you know, house was empty. And so she did it before, you know.
Yeah.
So when you do that in a country with a lot of shame and stigma about divorce,
Yeah.
you know, we had to lie and like, you know, why is my mother a single parent and why do we, you know, just Asian people are just gossipy motherfuckers, you know.
Yeah.
And
So are Mexicans. We call it chismoso or chismosa. But yeah, no, it's kind of the same. Like, my parents were pretty honest about a lot of shit, but my mom lied about crazy stuff.
yeah,
Like, she told us her dad wasn't paying child support. He refused to get a divorce because he was hardcore Catholic.
yeah,
And like, that's the same with my Nino and Nina. They're still married. Their kids are all grown and everything, but they're not getting a divorce because they took their vows.
yeah.
So he lives here in the United States and she lives in Mexico, but they're still married.
I see.
Yeah.
There's tons of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like in Mexico, it's a weird stigma. It's like you don't get divorced. It's like Catholic. I think it's like gotten better,
Yeah.
but I haven't been to Mexico since I buried my dad. So
It's interesting because I think Mexico is the first Latin country to legalize gay marriage, even though they're a Catholic country, you know.
I didn't know that. I know they
Yeah.
banned public smoking, and I'm like, how could you, Mexico? How could you? Like, you're not supposed to vape or like smoke cigarettes in public places unless it's like there's like certain areas you're allowed to.
I see.
But they did that. But this is also the same country that legalized like coke and like, well, it legalized drugs too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so I can do meth in public, but I can't smoke a cigarette.
Interesting. I do want to go there, Mexico City.
It's cool. You should check out the part of Mexico my dad's from. It's called Islandorio. and it has 2 rivers on either side of it. So
Yeah.
the sidewalks are like built up to here.
Yeah.
Because even like it rains pretty much every day there. But like when it sprinkles, like the streets will start to flood. When it's pouring, like if you're lucky, it won't go past
Yeah.
the sidewalks. But all the sidewalks are built like a foot and a half up, and they'll have stairs at the end of the blocks and stuff. It's a beautiful city. Yeah.
Is that like in the mountains of Mexico? Or?
It is on a mountain. It's technically kind of like an active volcano. And I thought it was interesting that my dad ended up in Flagstaff because that's 2 hours from Phoenix.
Yeah.
And on a mountain, and Isla del Rio is 2 hours from Guadalajara on a mountain. But it was just like 2 different, like snowy mountain, tropical mountain, because there's like geckos and shit, like cool, like wildlife.
You were born and raised in Phoenix?
Flagstaff, Arizona. That was my hometown.
I see.
My first year of comedy I did there. I thought I was good at it, so I moved to Phoenix. Still thought I was good at it, and now I'm here.
How long did you live in Phoenix?
I'd say about 7 years.
Okay.
I did do a brief stint where I went hitchhiking, and I did live with my sister for a couple months to save money because I was tired of living in the homeless shelter. Because, yeah, that was fun.
I remember watching you. I thought, what a clever joke writer, you know.
Aw,
Yeah. And
Feel loved. Sorry.
I thought you took it very seriously, which is good, you know. And I mean, even if somebody's telling a joke, it doesn't work. If I think the premise is good, I'll give a lot of credit, just because I think you're probably like 3, 4, 5, 6 open mics away from perfecting that joke, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I always thought you always enjoy watching you because I think because you took it seriously, I gave serious consideration, listen to you. But there's certain comedians like like they're idiots, and
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time listening to them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you always grab me right away.
Aw. Well, I think what helped was doing This Week Sucks Tonight. Do you remember that show? Onwar Newton and Michael Turner, and they did like their current events.
Oh
and
yeah,
then they had
I
us
like
go
those
up.
guys. Yeah.
And it was like kind of similar in Kill Tony, but the difference is you get your 5-minute set, but they're interrupting and interjecting the whole fucking time.
Oh, okay.
But they kept saying the same thing, structured joke, because when I first started, I was doing like storytelling shit.
Yeah.
But I just I'm just used to saying fucked up shit, and because that's my life.
Storytelling is great too, you know.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
getting back into that because I'm not doing an hour of one-liners. That's fucking insane. So I'm trying to do like a healthy mix of both now.
Yeah.
So I did my longest set in Biloxi or in Ocean Springs, like for the Juke Joint show.
Yes.
I did 50 minutes and it wasn't bad.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was so stoked.
I think it's like getting used to that, you know.
It's
and,
exhausting. Like, you don't think about it, but like all these people, it's like, yeah, I probably have 20. It's like, no, you have five 5-minute sets, or you have 4 5-minute sets. That's not the same fucking thing.
Because it's like storytelling is fine too, telling jokes, you know. I think ultimately you're taking people to journey. So, if you want to go New York from here, I mean, flying is the most convenient, but you could drive there, you could take a bus, you could take a train, you could hitchhike, different
I've been
paths.
hitchhiking.
So, yeah, it's getting comfortable. I did a show in Scotland last year. One of the most difficult part for me was recognizing the power of silence.
Yeah.
Just because they're not laughing, they might be just listening and they're really engaged,
Yeah. No, a lot of people don't think about that either. And I remember Tara Shakespeare's told me that because, like, I bombed, but they weren't talking over me or anything.
Yeah.
It was dead silent.
Yeah.
And everybody was listening. And she's like, do you know how hard it is? And she's like, all those eyes were on you. And I'm like, oh, damn. And I'm like, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Because Norm used to tell this long fucking story, and like you don't even know where it's going. He'll throw a punchline, and it's like it was worth it, Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like place you visited, like in doing comedy?
Comedy? Or?
Yeah, like just comedy wise, or even just like city wise. I mean, sounds like you've traveled so much. You have, like a spot that you're like, even if it isn't for comedy, you'd want to go there.
I asked that question one time, David Tell,
Yeah.
where his favorite place to perform. Maybe he changed, but I think I asked him 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was shocked by the answer. What do you think he said? His favorite city to perform comedy?
I have no idea, but I want to guess.
I was wrong, by the way.
Phoenix.
My guess would be New York.
Those are both. Phoenix is a great comedy scene, for God's sake, and New York. No, he said Washington D.C.
Really?
Yeah, and I asked him like why, and he told me that because the business of Washington D.C. is politics, and you always have to watch what you say. It's nice to go to a club where you hear some horrible shit.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a full breakaway from everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I think D.C. is an interesting place because Dave Chappelle started there, and also kind of weird because I like dark and edgy material, but John Mulaney is one of my favorite comics, and he started.
I actually love him.
He started doing comedy when he was attending Georgetown University, and that school is so famous in that regard because you have Nick Kroll, John Mulaney, and Mike Birbiglia.
Okay.
So they have a big people. Sorry for sounding out there was inspiration.
Very good.
So your ice joke was too good. That was they were trying to come in. They were like.
But yeah, comedy wise, like Texas is always a fun place to perform. Phoenix is great. Dallas, Houston. I was kind of shocked. Tulsa, Oklahoma, how great that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you have a good audience, I mean that's the amazing part about when you're a star, when they come specifically to see you.
Yeah.
So they're ready made and they want to have a good time. But if they don't know you, it's a little tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're getting into. I started doing comedy in Seattle. It has turned into a really not a good place to do comedy, in my opinion.
I've heard.
Yeah. So, of course, you have somebody like Bill Burr or Louis C.K. It's great anywhere because their fans going to show up, But
but didn't they cancel like Louis J. Gomez's show there and a couple other comics?
Oh yeah, some bullshit like that.
For some weird woke ass crap.
I did enjoy doing shows in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Okay.
One of my favorite places. They really like dark humor.
Oh fuck yeah.
And they're next to Sweden, and I struggle in Sweden. They hate that. You would think they're Scandinavian similar, but no, they're very different in temperament. Denmark, you could say almost whatever. They don't give a fuck. Swedes are very, at least in Stockholm, they're very sensitive.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
A place where you read the book with a dragon tattoo set. Love
Yeah,
that book series.
I enjoy Helsinki. I enjoy Norway for different reasons. My aunt is married to a Norwegian guy, so I know a lot of weird Norwegian references. So they're kind of weirded out.
Nice.
But Berlin is another place that was kind of fun to do shows.
Nice. Well, I am having a lot of fun doing all these road gigs and stuff, and I'd rather drive than take a plane or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's cool just seeing different environments, different people.
You see the country, yeah.
And I'm excited because I spent my whole life and I thought I was gonna die on that fucking mountain, which is fine. Flagstaff is a beautiful place, but I want to see the world, but I also want to see the U.S. first before I start going to other places.
Sure.
But it's so cool meeting all these new people and experiencing different shit and trying different food. And my friend Hector, he got me into that. He's all when you're on the road, it's why eat at a Taco Bell? You can eat at a Taco Bell at home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're right. But sometimes we'll try something new and it sucks. And he's like, well, that's part of the fun. And I'm like, dude, this food was awful. And I spent $20 on a fucking sandwich I don't even want to eat.
Yeah. I might be wrong, but I think Thomas Jefferson says something about if you really want to get to know people, you go to their kitchen, find a pot and put your thumb in there and taste what they eat.
Yeah.
It say a lot about them as a people, but I work in sex business, so my
Damn it.
my angle is one of my favorite directors, Shohei Imamura.
Yeah.
And great Japanese director. He kind of divide society by waist up. When you see waist up, you see the most best and elegant aspect of that society, right? So when you visit I don't know, USA. Maybe you visit all of like Washington D.C., New York City. Things that make you proud. If you're in Paris, Eiffel Tower and things like that.
Yeah.
Something that was beautiful, wonderful, which is great, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think for me to know you as a culture, I want to see waist down. So you see that pussy, asshole, dick, and dirty feet of your society. How do you treat the homeless people? How do you treat sex business?
Yeah.
And that tells me more about how you treat people. And I think because I work in sex business, I worked in I even grew up in my neighborhood, which was only maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles away from red light district. So I grew up in those kind of places, right? So even when I went to Afghanistan, I found out right away where you could find hookers, which was like a local Chinese restaurant, and you had hookers and things like
Shout
that.
out to the Chinese.
I didn't know they had hookers in Afghanistan.
There's hookers everywhere.
I mean, that makes sense. It's the oldest job in the world. But
And people get mad when I say this, but I don't mean it the way I'm gonna say now. But here's the thing, like, I'm sorry, but your mother's a whore. Your mother's a whore. My mother's a whore.
Yeah.
My
mom was a whore.
And you're a whore. You're a whore. I'm a whore. Because if you work in show business, you always have somebody you're going to answer to. We all have to do something we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And even Elon Musk, maybe he doesn't have a boss, maybe he's not a whore, but he's whore to a time. Eventually he's going to answer a time. He's going to die,
Yeah.
So we all are whores,
Yeah.
And how you treat whores tells me a lot about your society, And I think...
I can't wait till I can afford hookers. So tired of pretending to be nice.
Yeah. I mean, most entertainers are attention whores, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing I notice visiting cities. I think, because, you talk about surviving stuff, but, 1995, my girlfriend at the time, somebody tried to break into her apartment, tried to murder her. Thank God she made enough noise, and she was okay. She didn't get because of the neighbors called the police, but obviously I was very upset. And whenever I was driving between Tacoma and Seattle, if I'm driving middle of the night, she's sleeping, I'll just drive around the neighborhood, right? Make sure, right? Like I'm going to catch the guy. But I remember made a habit of driving around the neighborhood, and I went to local 7-Eleven, and it's like you're there like 12:30, 1 in the morning or something. You meet a lot of streetwalkers, right? Prostitute, and these are not bad people. You know, maybe one unfortunate thing, they're literally trying to survive. But the one that really got to me was there was two black ladies. One was older and one is younger, and it was a mother-daughter team, And I don't know exactly what led them, but they're trying to survive. We all need money, and this is the option they choose for whatever reason. And I got to know them because I asked, if they see strange people and things like that, and it was sad because she told me, she loved her daughter, but she just told me, like, one night when I got to know her, like, this is the only thing I could teach my daughter, but that's why I think I don't judge them, because I think society failed those people, And maybe they have addiction problem, maybe they're domestic violence, maybe they don't have a job skill, so they're trying to survive. And believe me, it is a scary thing to do. Get in a vehicle and have sex with somebody for money. Yeah. And I think I got
I've done a few hookerish things, nothing like major.
Yeah.
But
and I don't judge, but it was particularly sad time because this is like mid-90s, and I think we had a Green River serial killer, aka Gary Ridgway, And I think whenever I knew sex worker and they disappear, and this is like even like a work in porn business. When people disappear, I don't know if they disappear because they want to, or did they disappear because they found an opportunity and they're changing their way, or did they disappear because they got murdered or something horrible happened, And it's sad. It's something that I had to get used to.
Yeah.
You know, and these are my friends. You know, but yeah, how those people are treated. You know, and I think Germany, Netherlands, big chunk of European countries, it's legalized.
Okay.
Scandinavia had a kind of really weird way of handling prostitution, but if you really want to protect women, you should legalize it. You know, because what happened was when Gary Ridgway was murdering all those prostitutes, some of them probably knew the Green River serial killer, but they were afraid to go to police because if they went to police, they're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you make prostitution illegal, they're not going to go and ask for help. So they're in terrible situation where they have to deal with the pimps, the serial killers, and the crazy customers. You know.
Okay.
And I think, and sometimes some police are taking advantage of prostitutes. You know, I think this focus on protecting women on top.
Yeah.
You know, during Me Too movement, all those Hollywood stars.
Yeah.
I don't like what happened to them, but let's be honest, they have a lot of fucking powers. We should focus more on women in the bottom.
Yeah,
right?
the ones who don't have a voice and who can't say shit.
If you have a policy when you're protecting people on the bottom, that tells me it'll trickle up to everyone, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And most people don't give a fuck about the homeless, because I've been there.
And I think I probably told you before, I went to many of the Ghislaine Maxwell, who was associated Jeffrey Epstein's court cases, you know, and
Okay.
and I think I was one of the 4 civilians saw her getting guilty verdict, you know.
Okay.
And I don't want to minimize when I say this because I'm not trying to be jokey, but there is upper class, middle class, lower class victims, you know, because I think they took those white women more serious than, let's say, black and Latin female victims. Let's be honest here, right? Yeah.
It's generally how that shit goes down.
So, but I think if you go out of the way to protect, let's say, black prostitute, and if you are protecting that, that is a sign to me that they're taking precaution to protect all women.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a case in Oklahoma City. This half Asian or half Japanese guy, or maybe a Japanese police officer. He was raping all those black prostitutes. You know, nobody took it seriously, and they finally got him. But yeah, so
I kind of want to start asking that when I go to new cities now. It's like, how do you treat the hookers and how do you treat the homeless? It's like,
yes,
like it's like, where's a good place to eat? How do you treat the hookers and the homeless?
Yeah.
and the drugs.
And where do I buy weed? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, where's the safe cocaine and weed at? And where's the cheapest bar?
I don't care about the fancy part of the cities. Just show me the asshole of your city. Show me your pussy of your city, your dick.
See, and I do, like, I'm used to that too, because, like, Phoenix, like, I was in it. So, like, when I remember I was in Flagstaff visiting my grandma, I'd be, like, seeing all these stories. It's like 5 shot and killed in Phoenix. Yeah, no, it'd be like, it's like, oh, here. And I'm like, huh, I slept there like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
But, like, while I'm in it, like, you'll hear gunshots every once in a while. And it's all like, okay, or you find out a stabbing. Actually, one of the Safeways I worked on, or not Safeway, the McDonald's on Grand Ave.
Okay. I'm familiar with all that, like, president's name streets, you know, Monroe and places like that.
Yeah, the one on Van Buren and Grand, like, right across from the churches, or near the church's chicken and shit. Or, Van Buren. But, so that one, I was in the building when it got shot at, and our maintenance guy was there, and that dude was, like, driving. He was injured, but, like, I guess the other dude who was chasing after him, because they had the shootout in the parking lot, and then that dude ended up dying on, like, 48th and McDowell. And, like, when it happens, you're like, huh. And then, like, you do get kind of used to it. Like, I did witness a stabbing when I was in LA.
Yeah.
And that was the same day another homeless dude offered me all the rock I could smoke if I became one of his girls.
Yeah.
And I said, no, thank you. And he's like, a lot of people like fat asses. And I'm like, okay, but no, thank you. Because I survived off to, like, tarot card readings and shit.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'd do something hookery, but it'd be, like, with somebody I knew or trusted. And it's like, okay. And it's nothing too serious. They sucked some dude's nipples while he was masturbating. I normally don't charge for sex because the best things in life are free. Just kidding. No, sorry, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. We all, if you're ever in that spot and you survive, only thing you have is your tits, pussy, and asshole, right?
Yeah.
And your mouth,
and sell these by the pound and make a pretty penny.
And I think all these women who say this is degrading for women and things like that.
Not everybody feels that way, though.
Yeah, you can only say that because you were never put in a position you have to make a decision like that. Yeah.
That's true.
And what's more degrading? Let's say you're in Africa, right? One of the poor countries. You could get legitimate work. Maybe you make 50 cents a day, whatever, like $1 a day. Or if you're a young, attractive African girl, you have disgusting sex with a guy that look like me, but I'll give you $100. So you make a decision like, I give you agency. Yes, it's disgusting, maybe degrading. Yeah. That $100 might do you so much good for you and your family. I say you let those ladies make a decision for themselves.
Yeah.
It's only someone who never have to go through that will make statements like that, you know. And because for them, surviving is like
yeah, I wish I could get over that block.
Yeah.
But
so that's why if that's what they have to survive, it's not the most ideal, but if you have no option, what are you fucking supposed to do, you know?
Yeah.
Not everyone could be drug dealers or...
I don't have the patience to be a drug dealer. I tried.
Or robbery or whatever, you know?
If I ever get cancer, I'm going to straight up steal a cow and eat it.
What?
I'm going to steal a cow and eat it. I just think cattle rustling sounds fun.
Yeah.
I might take the cow with me and then commandeer a boat, but piracy and cattle rustling. Those are the two things I want to do before I die.
This sounds like a movie.
I would love to hear that APB go out. Yes, we have a Latino woman. She's taking a cow onto a speedboat.
Fucking wear a make a first mate hat.
She is now cutting into the cow.
I'll start with his legs.
Yeah.
Just fucking cauterize each leg I cut off. That'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Feed the cow. Oh, shit, I have to figure out what to feed the cow.
Yeah.
I think you're going to be healthy for a long time, and you don't have to make that decision for many, many years to come.
Yeah.
Why would you say that? That sounds awful. That sounds awful. Just kidding. No. I go back and forth. I'm like, more now lately, like, I'm like, okay, I don't want to die in my 40s anymore. So, like, I've made the age go up to, like, 60. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to be like my grandma.
Yeah.
And be that old age where I can just say whatever the fuck I want and get away with it. It's like she's old, and then I'll just say something Alzheimer's to get away with it. All my grandparents are dead. My parents are dead. One of my brothers is dead. And 2 or 4 of my nephews are dead. And all my stepdads.
Your brother, how old was he when he passed away?
He was like 36, 33, something like that.
What was the cause, if you don't mind asking?
Oh, I don't mind. I don't think my bitch sisters will see this. But according to them, he had a seizure and fell and hit his head.
Yeah.
Which is probable, but he had all of his medication in his body.
Yeah.
So, like, it is possible he had a diabetic fit, but my family likes to explain suicides away.
Yeah.
With, like the joke I have about the eyebrows. Yeah. That's the brother. But I don't say my sister's name in that anymore. And they're like, why are you lying to people, telling him? It's like, just because you're not getting into heaven doesn't mean you have to drag Robert down with you. And I'm like, fuck you. And he's the second most famous person in my family for being investigated by the FBI.
For what?
It's the stupidest fucking thing.
What?
He stole
it's
2
the dumbest
cows.
thing. This motherfucker to get attention from his wife because he used to be a city worker. He was the dude who plowed the roads and stuff and, like, did maintenance for the city. But he was trying to get his wife's attention, and he made a fake bomb and put it in his mailbox to get sympathy because he was trying to say, it's like, yeah, this crazy dude's trying to kill me. That was his plan.
Yeah.
He puts it in the mailbox. Mailman sees the bomb. And also, the fact that it was considered a bomb I find hilarious because do you know what it was? It was one of those alarm clocks.
Yeah.
Like, it looked like an Acme bomb with 2 road flares tied to it. And it was tied around it with electrical tape. That was the bomb.
So it was like a cartoon bomb.
Yeah.
My brother made a cartoon fucking bomb.
He watched too many episodes of Batman, and he's like, I can make that.
Oh, he just watched too much Looney Tunes, and I'm like, this is the dumbest fucking thing.
You know what? It's so weird because sometimes you go to, depends on which airport. When you go to counter to check in and get your ticket, sometimes they have like forbidden items you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
And then they have a bomb, but they have one of those bombs like a cartoon thing, like it's black with that thing. Like who makes bombs like that anymore?
It's like it's supposed to look like clay.
Yeah.
And then have a little. It's like maybe a wire or two. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, so he got in the newspaper, and the newspaper read it's all like a city worker investigated by FBI and fake bomb hoax.
Yeah.
And the FBI take him in and like interview him, and like it was a federal crime because it was in the mailbox.
Right.
But like they knew it wasn't a bomb. I think they were just fucking with my brother at that point. But they like had him detained for 6 hours, and like it even says that he was trying to get sympathy from his ex-wife.
Sure.
And it's funny because like he used to have her tattooed on his like left pec, and then I'm like, why don't you do the Born in East LA thing and have it filled in with the devil? Because he wanted to get it fixed or covered up. So he did that. He had a devil horns and got her
I'm
face
sure
in red.
So did they charge him with something? Or?
Yeah, but he got out for good behavior.
Okay.
But like, yeah, he was supposed to be in
Wait,
prison.
he went to jail?
He went to prison.
For how long?
Like, he was supposed to do like a couple years, but he got out in 6 months, and they put him in a halfway house.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but because he was like, it's a federal crime to fuck with a male.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like...
Yeah, like, it was a fake bomb and shit, and it was in his mailbox. Like, I forget everything that happened, but yeah, he was in prison for a little while.
He should have got a fake bomb tattooed over her name. That would have been
That would have been awesome.
taking a photo and be like, I want this right here.
Yeah, but no. According to my family, he had a seizure and hit his face, which is actually what happened to him, and he had to get plastic surgery done because he shattered the right side of his face because he clipped on the counter, and it shattered it, and dude, it did not look good. It just looked like, it kind of like, have you ever seen an asshole with the hemorrhoids hanging out?
Yeah.
It kind of looked like that.
I see.
Yeah, like on that side, and like everything was black on this side, and it was like spread. But like this was only part of his skin that was still like normal color.
So you think it might have been suicide?
Yeah, I'm 98% sure. He wasn't a happy person.
Which
is why I say suicide, but my family was like, you just want him to go to hell.
How does most, I don't want to generalize,
Yeah.
but how does most Latinos or Mexicans confront suicide? Is that something they could talk about, or is it difficult?
It depends. It's difficult. Because like my family, they didn't want to hear it when I told them I was depressed.
Yeah.
And they didn't acknowledge my suicide. Well, my family's kind of mean. So, like, first I told them, like, because I said I was depressed. And then it's like, well, maybe you need to figure out what's going on with your life and have God fix you.
Yeah.
But, like, no, well, I found out I had bipolar disorder. They were all
So
like,
you've been
oh, this is,
diagnosed?
yeah, I have a diagnosis. I take meds. I see a therapist. I got lucky with a therapist thing because she does it for free because I don't have health insurance.
So you have an extreme swing of moods, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I'm on a mood stabilizer that like helps level me out, but I still have my ups and my downs.
Yeah.
And that's like when I'm suicidal, it's because I'm having it down for the most part.
Can I ask you something? Do you think there is some kind of evolutionary advantage being bipolar anyway? Is there any circumstance that's an advantage to be that?
So I have read a lot of studies, but like because we have the ups and downs, like we have a tendency to it depends. It is a detriment, but we have a more realistic view of the world. So we tend to be better at handling fucked up shit.
Right.
For the most part, but normally we are the fucked up shit.
I think Winston Churchill was suffering from depression. He called
Yeah.
it black dogs.
Okay.
Lincoln was suffering supposedly from depression.
No, they think him and his wife had it. Manic depressive disorder, and then there's other people.
Yeah.
Because that's what it used to be called before they switched it to bipolar. But
I don't know if it's my theory or maybe I've read somebody that I don't remember, but there's definitely an advantage being depressed because if I think Lincoln and I think Winston Churchill said that they were facing great international crisis, right?
Yeah.
Like Churchill had to deal with Hitler and Mussolini and Tojo in Japan.
Yeah.
And Lincoln is dealing with.
It's one of my favorite slurs.
Sorry. What's that?
Sorry. Tojo's one of my favorite slurs.
And Lincoln have to deal with break down the USA, but because they're suffering from depression, they don't really feel the pressure because they really feel that all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I think.
I will say that I'm better at handling shit, like somebody who's not used to being sad.
I think optimistic or happy person dealing with those national crises, they might panic because they don't know how to deal with that feeling. But people like Winston Churchill and Lincoln, they feel depressed all the time. So I don't think it would make any different. They're kind of very suited for those situations, I think.
Yeah, and that's like kind of like the whole more realistic view of the world.
Yeah.
And they say that about people with depression and bipolar and stuff.
And they learn to be functional even under depression, you know.
See, the problem there's two main types of bipolar disorder. There's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. I'm bipolar 1. So
what makes one and two?
So 1, I have highs and I have lows, and then there's like middles. 2 is just middles and lows. So like you're either like normal or sad. So
yours is more extreme?
Yeah, so being too happy doesn't sound like a problem, right? Until the other side effects, so illusions of grandeur, ego, you're more like your sex drive, you take more risks and shit.
Yeah.
You're like, you have a predisposition to like do crime shit too.
Yeah.
But also the other problem is you feel too good, then you start to think you're capable of everything, and then there's what's called a psychotic manic episode, and this is how I found out I was bipolar. I thought I was Jesus and a killer whale, and I forget what else, but like I knew the answers to everything and anything in the world, and it's weird because like looking back, like everything made perfect sense at the time, but like, and I remember pieces of what I was thinking, but everything was connected, everything was one, and for the first time in my life, I was truly and inexplicably happy.
Yeah.
And what scares me is, so I didn't think anything was wrong with me, but my sister's like something, like the way they described it is like I sounded like I was on drugs or methed out or something. But I also kept talking about the Bible and the Lord of the Rings and killer whales, and I'm like, oh no.
Is that what they call mania? Like
mania.
Yeah.
But so the other problem with that is like you feel so good, you think you're invincible, you think you're Superman, and you can die during a manic episode because you decide, hey, I'm gonna fly off the skyscraper. And then
I don't say, I'm not being sarcastic when I say it. Do you just have bipolar and that's it? Or do you have...
I have that, and I've been diagnosed with PTSD,
Okay.
which I argue with the therapist about.
Yeah.
And I aced that childhood trauma test. Perfect score. But no, they said I had PTSD, and I'm like, I might have PTSD from the dog attack, but I don't have PTSD from my childhood. And they did kind of explain it to it, and I'm like, okay, I guess I do, because like I thought about it, because it's very rare, but sometimes like it's rare, but it'll happen. Like maybe you're like right next to me, and you kind of like go like this really fast.
Yeah.
And like I'll just kind of like flinch involuntarily because I think you're my dad trying to hit me.
Right.
Or something like that. Or like I notice what triggers me is if I see like kids being abused too.
Yeah.
And like that'll trigger depression. Like it'll send me cycling, because like when I get on my depressive episodes, like I can't read the news or like other shit, or I have to make myself go outside and like hang out with people. Otherwise I will just lay in bed. Like one time I was so depressed I didn't get out of bed for 3 days, and I was just pissing myself like in the bed because I was...
Where are you now? You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good right now. Yeah, I'm pretty dandy. I think I was a little manic a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And like hints of mania. Oh, and what sucks about this is if I don't get enough sleep, I start going psycho. Like it triggers like mania and depressive episodes.
Yeah, I get really cranky when I don't sleep. I don't know what's going on. I can't even think.
And then mania manifests in 2 ways, like anger or happiness.
Yeah.
So like you're either like some manic people, or it's like fuck you, ah! And then like grab like a camera and throw it. It's like, you don't know fucking shit, and like losing your damn mind over the weirdest shit.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like I'll be good, but like then something like minor will happen. Like it's like, okay, just lost a whole bunch of family members. This is, like, I have to check myself because, like, it's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
But there has to be a reason that caused the sadness.
The scary ones when you're sad for no reason.
Yeah. Like, just out of nowhere, I woke up feeling like I gotta watch that stuff, and I have a mood journal that I haven't filled out in the last, like, 2 weeks. I need to get back on that.
Do you ever get, like, I don't want to say, how would I say this? Do you ever get sense like people with epilepsy problem, I've heard that they get a pretty good sense like it's coming soon, or a few moments before, like, it's going to happen. Do you get a sense like depression's coming your way? Or just it just grab you suddenly when you're walking down the street or doing something?
Sometimes I can see it, but more often than not, it just happens.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just be having a conversation now, and then out of nowhere, I'll just start, like, feeling like shit. It's all like, huh. But, like, I have to, like, write down the number of, like, intrusive thoughts I have. Like, it's all like, oh, I could walk into traffic right now. Shit like that, but, like, thinking about it. And I, like, one precursor is, and it's weird, and one time it happened in front of somebody, and I was embarrassed. I'm like, please don't freak out. And I explained it, but I'll say, like, I'll talk about myself in the third person, but I'm like, Celia's gonna kill herself.
Yeah.
And I'll just say that out of the blue. And it's like, okay. Or it'll be like, it's like, Celia killed herself. Like, it already happened. But, like, if that thought keeps popping, I'm like, you know what? I think something, it's weird and it sucks, but, like, I have to do things, like if I am sad, I have to, like, force myself to get out of bed and go for a walk. I need to sit up. Because I will just stay in bed. I won't listen to music. I'll just be, like, crying silently to myself, or just, like, sobbing into my pillow for no reason.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, times where it's like, okay, I have to, like, keep my shit together. I'll explain to people. It's like, I can come, but, like, I am in a depressive mood. I might be crying, and I don't want to ruin anybody's mood.
Sure.
Or, like, I'll say it's like, I can't go for this reason, or I'll go do my set and get the fuck out. But I had a depressive episode when I did that roast battle with Colin O'Mara at Mothership. And, like, I was, like, joking, but I was sad. And, like, that was one of the few times Mothership was like, yeah, you can stay and watch the whole battle. And I'm like, I'm going to go hit a mic. Otherwise, because they asked, it's like, why are you here? It's like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, it was either come here and hurt people on stage or stay at home and hurt myself. That's the other indicator I know when I'm getting sad, because I'll, like, start cutting again. Like, most of my scars have healed because I never went that deep. That one was a little intense.
Do you do it because of a coping mechanism and you want to feel something?
I want to feel something other than sadness.
Yeah.
And, like, it kind of feels good after a while. But, like, I didn't go deep. What I'd do to feel the pain was I'd cut myself open and then I'd pour rubbing alcohol on it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Because, like, I didn't want it to be too deep because I didn't want people to know or find out.
That's the scary part of stand-up, because I think once you start going the road, a lot of time you're by yourself. Yeah. And boy, do you have so much free time in between, you know. And and three, I think, especially we get tons of laugh and people like you. There's a tendency for the audience, because they're nice and they like you, they want to buy drinks and or drugs or reckless sex and things like that. Yeah. And I think, you know, if you're especially a young guy, oh, this is fucking great, but is it? You know, it's, honestly, it's just going to catch up to you, you know.
That's true, and I am a lush. I'd like to point out I've only had 2 beers so far today.
And
as of now,
it's a tough one. I think.
Well, also, the part of the reason I do drink, because, like, bipolar people, we don't like to be on our meds. Yeah. Because, like, a lot of them are really intense. Like, lithium, like, I just didn't feel anymore, and I was starting to lose huge chunks of my memory. But I was just kind of staring.
There's a side effect, right? When you
there's side effects, and it's a weight gainer.
Yeah.
So, and, like, it's an appetite suppressant, so I stopped eating, but I gained, like, 40, 60 pounds. Yeah. And I was not eating, and your mouth is like, it's like just perpetual cotton mouth, but you're drinking all this water to, like, get rid of the cotton mouth, but then you fuck up your electrolytes, so you have to drink electrolytes or have bananas or some shit. But then I didn't want to eat, but people, it's like, Celia, please eat something. Yeah. Or, like, my brother, he freaked out. He's all like, I liked it better when you were sad. He's like, do something. And I'm just staring, and he's all like, oh, and that's That's how I knew how to get off of it, because I was watching stand-up comedy, and this is like, I think I was only 6 months into stand-up when all this happened, and I'd gotten out of the psych ward. But they pumped me full of something called Invega and put me on risperidone and like lithium, but it was because they were combating the manic episode.
Yeah.
But like I hadn't slept in like 48 hours. That's the other thing about mania. Like, I'll like not want to sleep at all. And that's part of the reason I drink, because it's one of the few things that like makes me sleepy. And they tried to put me like, they're like, we can try Ambien next. And I'm like, I have enough addictions. It's like, we're good there. And like when I broke my foot, I'm like, I'll just do Tylenol. Like I did like the 11 days of Percocet, but after that it's like I'll do Tylenol or just like deal with the pain. But like pain's familiar to me, so like half the time if I have a headache or something, I just deal with it.
Is it annoying when you deal with so-called normal people, average people, that they don't suffer depression? Because they don't know. I mean, how could they know if they never suffered depression, you know? Like all the things you do to take care of yourself, all the medication that you take,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I'm like one of more the proactive people about it, but like when I first found out I was bipolar, like I felt like a registered sex offender and I had to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Because like I didn't go, like I went to the worst possible place, the guidance center in Flagstaff, Arizona. And like psych wards are either mentally ill people or people coming down from like DTs and withdrawal, and they're trying to figure out where to send them.
Down from what?
Like DT, having the DTs like coming down from meth or something.
What do you mean DT?
Like detox?
Yeah, shit. What does it stand for? It's like withdrawal symptoms, but shit, what the fuck does it stand for? I know it stands for something, but like the handshakes and stuff like that, like, or like you're like agitated and shit when you're like coming down.
Almost like a show shocked, or
Yeah. Kind of like, because if you drink, like my version of the DTs is like very rarely my hands will shake, so I do like I can't stop drinking cold turkey. I have to ease myself off of it. But like I can normally do it in like 3 days, because if I quit cold turkey, then my hands are gonna be like this for like a day or two. That rarely happens. Normally what happens is I can't sleep the first 72 hours, and that's when I start getting weird.
Yeah.
And then like by day 3, and then like I forget how many days it is, but you start hallucinating when you don't sleep. But yeah, if I'm like only getting 4 hours of sleep, that is a precursor to like I'm ramping up to a manic episode. But oddly enough, exercise is a good thing for both depression and manic episodes, because you're burning off that energy. Yeah. And then like for depression, like the endorphins help.
I don't know how it is here, because I don't think I've seen tons of it, but in Los Angeles, I don't know what you call those things. They're like urban designers or architect. They purposely put, like, you know, there's a bench or something. They will put some barriers so people can't lay down and sleep.
Yeah.
And I think
that shit pisses me off.
And I think you see scenarios where these homeless people, it's already punishing as it is. You sleep in the street.
Yeah.
And God knows what kind of mental illness you have because of it, you can't function. On top of it, you prevent these people from getting proper sleep. No wonder they push people off the subway platform or stab you, because they probably hallucinate seeing devil, or they see me thinking I'm the demon or something, you know?
Yeah, no.
Sleep is necessary.
Yeah, and like I'd be...
Call me silly.
Dude, it was funny because, like, when I was homeless, I got hit on all the time, too, by both homeless and not homeless people. But the not homeless guys who were hitting on me, it's like, you're not, like, you can obviously tell I'm homeless. I have 2 backpacks with me.
Yeah.
And you saw me sleeping. Like, I never slept at the bus stop things like most people did. I always, like, find a, like, hedge or something between 2 walls to curl up next to.
How many times have you slept in... I've never...
Less than... 200 times? No, like, no. Because most people are nice, and, like, a lot of comics in Phoenix were very accommodating and kind. Actually, no. Maybe, like, collectively, I've spent a year on the streets. Like, just, like, sleeping outside.
Yeah.
And, like, there's times where people ask, it's all like, oh, it's like, it's like, you're not on this, it's like, did you get to so-and-so's house? And then I was, like, falling asleep, and it, like, happened to be raining, but like one of our friends called, and I like had my had a garbage bag over me so my phone wouldn't get wet and my backpack wouldn't get wet. Or like I have to choose the backpack and like cover that and make sure it's safe, and just sitting there like, ugh. Thank God Phoenix is warm for the most part. But there's been a couple times when a friend would call, it's like, hey, it's like, you said you were staying at so-and-so's house. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, they said you're not there. And I'm like, I didn't want you to worry. And it's all like, where the fuck are you? And I'm like, I'm sleeping near Gracie's. It's like, what street? And like, I forget, it was like the street next over, because I think McKinley is where Gracie's was on.
Yeah.
Yeah, McKinley and Roosevelt. Like, I was a block away, like sleeping between a wall and a tree. Or I'd like hide behind dumpsters, which not a pleasant smell, but it does deter other people.
I think when I lost my job in 2012, I think month and a half, maybe 2 months, not straight, but sometimes you have to sleep in your car or whatever,
Yeah.
you know. I didn't want to.
If I knew how to drive, that would have been helpful.
But man, I can't even. That's at least I have a place to sleep where I can protect myself. It is so uncomfortable, and when you wake up in the morning, it's so freezing cold.
That's the other reason I drank the alcohol, because it keeps you warm.
Yeah.
And it makes, like, if you are shit-faced, you can sleep just about anywhere. So that did contribute to part of my alcoholism too. But
it's just a coping mechanism, yeah.
Yeah. Malcoping.
But
Like,
yeah,
that's
when
that-
they're acting crazy, like, man,
But like sometimes you get it, and like there'll be homeless people on 6th Street. You'll ask, it's all like, hey, can I have money? I'm gonna be on, like, and I'm like, for food? Like, I can buy you food. It's like, well, yeah, but like money would be better. And I'm like, do you need it for drugs? And it's all like, like one dude was like, yeah, it's for drugs. And I'm like, how much do you need? And he's like, 20. And I'm like, all right, let's go to the ATM. And I gave it to him because like it's different. And like I know some people, it's like, how can you enable them and shit? It's all like, you know, you have to hit like rock bottom sometimes when you're that far gone. So I feel like I'm still kind of helping.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like it's different, but it's very easy. Like I didn't get hooked to hard drugs or anything. But like it's also, alcohol's pretty cheap. Like just get 240s of Steel Reserve. It's like $8, and I can get $8 easy. Or like I just do really well at a comedy show, which it is fucked up. But I think that's part of the reason I got better at comedy too, because if I did well enough at open mics, like people, it's like, you're the only funny one. Let me buy you a drink, sweetheart. And I'm like, yay. So I do that, and I do my tarot cards, but like I'm not an asshole. It's like most tarot card readers will charge you $60, and mine will say free, tips and donations appreciated. People are like, I only have my card, and like now I have Cash App and Venmo, so I can accept that and like these other things, so that makes it easier. But there's like, can I buy you a beer instead? And I'm like, can you get me fries? But like I do that, and there was this cool Chinese restaurant, I forget where, like it was in LA. It was like in the Chinatown or the Koreatown or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I asked the guy, and he's all like, no, it's like every time somebody asks and you to work in exchange for food. And I'm like, well, how about this? How about I clean, and if you don't like what I do, you don't have to feed me.
Yeah.
And he looked at me for a sec. He's like, okay. And then like I was cleaning, like getting gum off tables and like wiping down chairs and everything. And after like an hour and a half, he's like, you worked hard enough. He's all like, what food do you want? And then he like gave me the list. And like he helped me out a couple days while I was there.
Yeah.
And then like I'd rely on Craigslist gigs sometimes. It's like, hey, I paint my shed for $200. It's like, fuck yeah. What sucks about that is because I have a vagina, apparently that means I can't do physical labor like dig a hole. I'm like, it's digging a fucking hole. Just give me the shovel.
Yeah, last during the COVID, you know, did you travel a lot during COVID?
No, not really. Like, yeah,
You were
like
saying
I don't know how to drive.
you-
I was in Phoenix,
Felix, yeah.
but like also during COVID, like I was homeless again, and I stayed at the shelter, and to prevent like it from spreading, they would have Corona hotels.
Yeah.
So if like they check your temperature and shit every day, or they do weekly checks. So like every day, couple days, they'd swab your nostrils. And yeah, they were mandatory tests. Before it was every day, and then like by the time I was there, it was like once a week. And then also like the feeling I had to grab the chair and hold on, and they're like, "Are you grabbing that so you don't punch us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't like shit being put in my nose unless I put it in there." But like I had a fever, but they results didn't come back. But I had the fever, so they're like, "Yeah, we got to put you in the hotel." So, like, I get isolated and, like, our rooms are separated and stuff, but I'm not allowed to talk to anybody. They'd leave the food at the door, knock.
Yeah.
I had to count, like, 10 seconds for them to leave before I opened the door. And, yeah, it was a whole fucking thing.
I traveled a lot. I took advantage because COVID, actually, during COVID was a pretty good thing for me. You know,
Nice.
the travel was cheap, and I think, you know, we have a thing in Japan called hikikomori. Maybe I'm not even saying it right, but it's people who have social anxiety, or they cut themselves from society. So a lot of time, they've been locked up. They stay home. They don't leave. They've been home like 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years. They don't leave, you know.
Yeah.
And I think they're pushing like 1 million people in Japan. Like they completely cut themselves from society, you know.
Oh, damn.
Maybe they got rejected or they got fired from a job they
But that's just a Japanese move in general, isn't it?
What's that?
Isn't that just a Japanese move in general? Then they do the whole isolation thing. Where they cut
that was for
themselves.
what, like 300 years?
I forget what it's called. Like.
Oh, you mean like when the country isolated them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
They did that until July 3rd, 1873, when we sent Commodore Perry with Black Ship, forced Japan to open their country to the West.
Oh, okay.
But this is like individuals who are probably have a mental illness and anxiety, and I think there's so much stigma because for whatever reason they decide to cut themselves off and stay home, and they have their parents taking care of them, you know. And once their parents longer are not able to take care of them and money run out, within 6 months a lot of them are dead.
Damn.
But what was interesting, during COVID, so many Japanese were forced to stay home and got locked up. They start having a little bit of sympathy for them because they understand because they're losing their mind because they can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're thinking like, okay, something happened to them where they're fucked up and they're suffering, and Japanese are not the most forthcoming about their emotion and things like that.
Yeah.
So ironically, COVID kind of helped the 99% of others in Japan who are not locked up, like, oh wow, maybe this is what they're going through, you know.
Yeah.
I think empathy was such a low supply during COVID, you know, and I think that was a tough one. I generally don't like forcing people to do things they don't like.
Yeah.
But COVID was particularly nefarious because like I say, I work in sex business.
Yeah.
I think kids who live in home with domestic violence.
Yeah, no, that's what I was fucking worried about.
Or kids living in a home with sex predator. So this is a good policy.
Great for the predator.
It's a good policy for abusers because now state will regulate and make sure those kids and wives or girlfriends to stay home.
Yeah.
And I think I really hated the whole policy, you know. Yeah. And especially because we don't know exactly what's going on. Violating somebody's constitutional rights, not a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you know, I think it's good that you're talking about surviving because that should be everyone's number one priority.
Yeah, well,
you know?
that's like why I like the idea too, and like I was excited because me and JP were trying to figure it out because I didn't want to just do the comedy thing.
Yeah.
But like we talk about
comedy is a
stuff.
coping mechanism, isn't it?
It
Humor
is. Like like dude, if it wasn't for stand-up comedy, I don't think I'd be alive right now. I think I would have actually like finally made that full dollar.
And most civilians make a mistake because when you say dark material, it's not that you enjoy it. It's a coping mechanism, and
I want people to know they're not alone. That's why I talk about the fucked up shit I talk about.
And also, if you talk to, I bet you 90% of police, nurse, paramedic, anybody who deal with like a real life situation, they have a dark sense of humor because without it, they can't function. Yeah. You'll be just overwhelmed with all the shitty things. You have to find a reason to laugh, right? And
it's people who like people do tend to have a darker sense of humor when they've been through fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Like, the people who laugh the hardest at the jokes are the people, like, if somebody laughs too hard, it's like somebody send a wellness flare to his house or wellness check.
Yeah.
But, so we are almost out of time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I only do it for an hour, so it's not
Yeah.
It depends. I do want to keep talking, though. But is there anything you want to plug? This is going to air, that would be May. Would be May. Wait, no. June 1st. So your episode's going to... Is there anything that far out in advance?
I don't really...
You don't plan that far ahead?
I don't know if I have... I just enjoyed coming to Austin. I like to do more show at Mothership, other clubs.
Fuck yeah.
But June... I'll probably come back late June.
Oh, okay.
I'm going... I'm not saying... It's not a world tour, but I'm going to planning to do shows. But, I'm going... What am I doing? LA, New York, London, Albania, Romania, Moldova, Israel, Greece, maybe Egypt, and I'm going to Singapore and Japan to be back. So I'm going to make a loop around the world.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And some of the shows, but I'm glad you're doing well. You make me laugh.
Thank
and
you. You made me laugh too.
I really enjoy. I really enjoy how meticulous you spend time in making clever joke, because it's a very good telling when you set up a joke and give a punchline, and if I didn't see coming, like, oh, I didn't see that punchline coming, that's usually a good material.
Yeah,
And you do that
I
a
like
lot.
Mr. X too. Also, did you have anything you needed to plug?
Just Instagram, Eric Biggs Comedy. Anything I have going on all the way in June.
Oh yeah,
will
Instagram,
be-
Yoshi Obayashi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, say anything
And
I'm doing
then
will be on
also,
there.
I would like to remind everybody that this is produced by the Birthday Boys podcast. And check out my YouTube channel, too.
And this is episode 4.
Yes, episode 4. Yeah. Oh, and we didn't do our imaginary scenario, but, like, we don't have to do it every time. We can save it for next time.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was the imaginary scenario?
I don't know.
It was a power grid one.
Okay. Like, basically, he gives us a scenario, and, like, we have to figure out what we're going to do during it. But, like, the power grid shutting down, right? Yeah.
I'll be dead. I'm fucking useless.
The first episode, the same guy.
I'll be dead.
guy said
I'll be the
same-
first one to be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all like, I used to camp and I was a Girl Scout. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
We go to a hospital and steal their fucking generator.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't steal it.
Well,
but-
thanks for having me on the show. I hope.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe it was a waste of time. Was it?
Oh, no,
was it
not
right?
at all. I'm excited. Like, I want to interview a whole bunch of different people, too. But, like, I love this episode. There hasn't been an episode I've done that I didn't like. But
Okay.
I'm also trying to pick.
I enjoyed the Rebecca one. That was good.
Yeah, I love that.
I didn't even know what she looked like.
Yeah, you didn't? Damn. I like her little rogue streak she has going on right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had the Adam Lucky one's fun, too. And I did Allison Voidovich, the one who runs Liddy Titty.
I don't know her. Do I know her?
She's the white girl who looks like Frankie Muniz.
Wait a minute.
Maybe.
That doesn't sound flattering.
She's hot, but she has the same face. I'll show you something.
Wait, Frank Muniz with tits? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
Okay. I'm sure she's hot.
Yeah.
I wasn't bashing her.
Yeah.
No, she's a beautiful girl, and she's cool. But yeah, this has been Surviving with Celia, episode 5.
Bye.
Bye.